There is a tiny hairy larva moving across the edge of a dark sweater. It is barely the size of a grain of rice. Brown, bristled, slow. It slips along the seam where the fabric meets the shadow of the closet floor. For 1 second, it looks like a crumb with legs. Something ugly. Something dirty. Something that does not belong inside your home. So your hand moves before your brain does. You reach for a tissue, or the vacuum, or the spray bottle under the sink. You want it gone fast, because anything small, hairy, and crawling across fabric feels like a warning. And honestly, that reaction makes sense. But before you crush it, pause. Because that tiny hairy larva may be telling you exactly where something in your home has been left untouched for too long. This is not just a bug wandering through your room. This is a carpet beetle larva. And the strange part is not that it is in your home. The strange part is where it chose to appear. That little bristled body is not moving randomly. It is searching through the quiet parts of the house, the places you do not touch every week, the places where fabric sleeps, dust gathers, hair collects, and old things slowly become food. That is where the story changes. Most people see one larva and think the answer is simple. Kill it, wipe the area, move on. They treat the insect as the whole problem. But with carpet beetle larvae, the larva is often only the visible sentence at the end of a much longer message. It may be coming from the back of a closet. It may be coming from the folded cuff of a wool coat you have not worn since last winter. It may be coming from the dark strip under a rug, where pet hair, lint, and tiny organic scraps have settled into the fibers. It may be coming from a drawer with an old scarf, a feather decoration, a natural bristle brush, a stored blanket, or a box that has not been opened in years. The larva is small. The signal is not. Carpet beetle larvae are not looking for your clean plastic storage bin, or the metal shelf or the freshly washed cotton towel sitting in the light. What they want is more specific and more uncomfortable. They feed on forgotten protein hidden in ordinary rooms. Wool, fur, feathers, silk, leather, hair, pet fur, dead insects near window tracks. Dust that is not just dust, but a quiet mixture of shed skin, lint, fibers, and crumbs of organic material collected in the dark. But the strangest part is what that means. The larva crawling near your baseboard may not be the beginning of the story. It may be the messenger leaving the scene. Somewhere nearby, there may be a small feeding site you have not noticed yet. Not dramatic, not swarming, not loud. Just a dark, undisturbed place where something has been available long enough for life to find it. That is the uncomfortable genius of this little creature. It does not need a huge mess. It does not need a filthy home. A spotless house can still have a forgotten wool hat in a storage box. A clean apartment can still have pet hair packed behind a dresser. A tidy closet can still have one old sweater folded in the back, holding body oils, dust, or natural fibers. And in that quiet, the larva becomes a detector. It moves through the hidden map of your house by appetite. It follows what you forgot. It finds the soft, dark, organic places that your eyes skipped. Here is the part that changes everything. A carpet beetle larva can feed inside a fold, beneath a collar, along the edge of a rug, or in the seam of a stored fabric before you ever see the damage. By the time you notice the larva walking in the open, the real action may have already happened in the shadow. That tiny body may be the first visible clue from a place that has been feeding it in silence. Think about that for a second. The thing you wanted to crush may have been pointing to the exact corner your home wanted you to check, not because the larva is helping you on purpose. It is not a friendly little inspector. It is a pest. It can damage natural fabrics. It can leave shed skins. Its hairs can bother sensitive skin. You do not need to protect it like a garden ally, but you do need to listen to what its presence means. Because if you only kill the larva and walk away, you may destroy the clue and leave the source untouched. That is how the mistake happens. A person sees one hairy larva on the carpet. They panic. They spray the visible spot. They feel better for 10 minutes. Then, weeks later, they find irregular holes in a scarf, a damaged rug edge, or more larvae near the same wall. The spray hit the messenger. The pantry stayed open. The real action is happening where you cannot see it. Under the bed, there may be a thin gray line of lint and hair pressed against the wall. Behind the closet door, there may be a wool coat hanging motionless in the dark, with one hidden fold holding enough material for larvae to feed. Inside a drawer, an old silk tie or cashmere sweater may be resting under other clothes, untouched, warm, and forgotten. Near a window, Dead insects may have collected where adults once flew toward the light and died behind the frame. To you, these are scraps. To the larva, they are a landscape. It does not see your room the way you see it. You see furniture, clothing, carpet, storage. It finds seams, folds, fibers, hair, carcasses, and dark edges. It reads the house by what can be eaten. That is why the thumbnail says check closet. Not because every closet is infested. Not because one larva means disaster. But because a closet is exactly the kind of place where human attention stops and hidden food begins. Closed doors, dark fabric, stored coats, old blankets, shoes with lint inside, boxes pushed to the back, seasonal clothing waiting for a year, a rug edge that never gets lifted. The larva is small enough to make you underestimate it. The location is specific enough that you should not. And here is the reversal. It is not just crawling, it is pointing. Once you understand that, the room changes. That little brown shape on the floor is no longer just a disgusting interruption. It becomes a marker, a tiny moving arrow, a reason to stop and ask a better question. Where did you come from? Not how do I kill this one? Where did you come from? That question changes what you do next. You look at the nearest fabric. You check the underside of the rug. You inspect the closet corner. You pull out the forgotten wool item. You look along the baseboard. You check behind furniture. You look for shed skins that look like tiny empty husks. You look for irregular fabric damage, not clean cuts, but eaten patches and thin places. You are not hunting one insect anymore. You are following a signal back to the thing that invited it. Before you spray, understand what the room is telling you. Carpet beetles often become a problem when the food source stays hidden. So the smartest first move is not a dramatic chemical attack. It is investigation. Vacuum slowly along. Edges, cracks, baseboards, under furniture, and inside closets. Empty the vacuum afterwards so you are not storing the problem in the machine. Launder or dry clean vulnerable fabrics. Heat, cleaning, and proper storage matter more than panic. Seal valuable wool, silk, fur, feather, or leather items in tight containers after they are cleaned. Remove old pet hair, dead insects, lint mats, and forgotten natural materials from quiet corners. And if the activity keeps appearing, spreads through multiple rooms, or affects valuable rugs, upholstery, or stored clothing, then it is time to bring in professional help. But the first lesson is still the same. Do not ignore the larva. Do not simply crush it and pretend the story ended. Do not treat the visible insect as the entire problem, because the larva is often not the secret. The secret is what fed it. That is why this tiny creature feels so unsettling. It reveals a truth about the home that most of us do not like to admit. A house has blind spots, places our routines never touch, corners that collect evidence, objects we store and forget, materials we assume are safe because they are out of sight. And then one day something small walks out of the darkness wearing bristles on its back. It crosses the carpet like a warning with legs. At first you see filth, then you see a pest, then you realize it may be a map. That is the emotional turn. You almost destroyed the only visible sign of the hidden place your home needed you to find. Not every strange thing in your house is protecting you. Some are warning you. Some are exposing a problem before the problem becomes expensive. Some are ugly because they come from the parts of the house you stopped seeing. The carpet beetle larva is one of those signs. It does not roar. It does not swarm in the center of the room. It appears as a tiny hairy line near a baseboard, a closet, a drawer, a rug, a dark piece of fabric. And if you are paying attention, it tells you something with brutal precision. Something here has been sitting too long. Something here can feed me. Something here needs to be checked. So the next time you see that small bristled larva moving across a sweater, do not just react. Do not only crush. Do not only spray. Follow the clue. Lift the fabric. Open the drawer. Pull out the box. Check the closet. Look where the darkness begins. Because the smallest thing in the room may be showing you the place you forgot. And once you see it that way, that ugly little larva is no longer just a bug. It is the house pointing at its own blind spot. If you have ever found one of these near a closet, rug, drawer, or baseboard, tell me where it was. And subscribe, because the next strange thing you almost ignore may be showing you exactly what your home has been hiding.